And we are back with the second half of the Hoenn grind in the Genlocke, hopefully more on time this time around. Last part ended with us having to restructure the team a bit, seeing how we lost 3 really powerful Pokémon in Duskoi, Annabelle and Kalia. And with Norman up next, with his slacking, something had to be done. We spent a good chunk of time grinding, where we mostly cheese the daycare center method, and get a team leveled up. So now we have Damon, Claudia, Manny, Artemis, CJ and Kaido on the squad, with Claudia and Kaido having evolved into an Ivysaur and Gyarados respectively. We take the new team to Petalburg, dispatch all of the trainers in Norman's gym, and then go on to fight the man himself. The plan against Norman is relatively simple, using Kaido's Intimidate to give us an edge in the battle against Slacking and Vigoroth. Simple, but efficient. We open quite confidently with Kaido and his Intimidate, dropping the first Slacking's attack, meaning we'd be able to live up to 2 of his facades, had he not gotten a critical hit. So we started gym battle by losing our Intimidate mon. Great, that whole strategy fell apart just relatively quickly, didn't it? I do switch into Artemis and start to bulk up, letting her easily dispatch of Slacking and Vigoroth. Then I spend a good amount of time debating whether or not to just heal out of fear of another crit from the second Slacking. Well, Artemis takes a hit and strikes back with Brick Break, granting us the balance badge, so that crisis has been averted with relatively few casualties. We still lost Kaido though, which is a little bit, annoying considering that we just lost 3 teammates after all. Before leaving Petalburg, I fish in the pond and get Neptune and the Goldeen, and then I head up north past Rustboro and fish up a new Magikarp. I don't apply the Dupes Claws here, and simply train this one up to be a perfect replica of Kaido. Then we go on to get Stained Glass the Tentacle down south, so the loss of Kaido was relatively quickly mended by just getting a second one, but that's how Nuzlocke be sometimes. While doing some backtracking, Claudia evolves into a Venusaur, and we then help Watson shut off the new Mauville and capture Whiskas the Voltorb in the process. After all of said backtracking is over, we continue towards Fort 3, CJ and Manny evolving into an Altaria and Piloswine along the way, and we also encounter and capture Brook the Kecleon as we go. We deal with Team Magma at the Weather Institute to get Storm in the cast form, and then go on to stump out May, who still only has 3 Pokémon. Heading past Fort 3, we capture Kusa, the Oddish, before we head to get the Devon Scope from Steven so we can deal with all the Kecleon and enter Fort 3 Gym. Before we reach Winona, Damon evolves into a Swampert, so that is very handy, making it a little bit easier to deal with Altaria, considering that, Swampert can learn Ice Beam and everything. The battle against Winona herself is one that is feared largely because of her Altaria, but we are prepared for everything she can do. Manny dispatches over Swellow, Brook uses Shockwave to take out Pelipper as well as Skarmory, after some help from Claudia, and finally, her Altaria gets dispatched by Damon's Ice Beam, which we picked up while backtracking. Sure, she lived 1 hit and kept healing up, but she didn't do much to us. Now we're set with 6 badges. The road to Lily Cove is largely uneventful, but we do catch Sky the Phanpy in the Safari Zone as well as Addy G the Duskull. But here is where the fun begins. You see, in between streams, I decided to kill some time and just see if I could fish up a Feebas. Feebas, which only appear if you fish into 6 of the squares on the entirety of Route 119, and it's all generated at random. You have to attempt every single block of water in this route to find it. People have lost their minds trying to find this fish. Well, not only did I fish one up, but it was also shiny at that. So I saved the game state and started playing from here during the next stream, and caught her, named her Phoebe, and we were off to the races. Just ignoring how incredibly rare and lucky this is, do you know how powerful a Melodic is? Being a pure water type means Melodic is only weak to electric and grass, and back in Generation 3, those 2 types were exclusively special, and Melodic sports a sky-high 125 special defense to tank those moves. Her defense isn't bad either, sitting at 79, and with an HP of 95, she's just going to absolutely tank everything and can still dish out a lot of damage herself coming off of the special attack, which is Blanket 100. With moves like Surf and Ice Whip to mainly deal damage, and on top of that also getting access to recover as well. Melodic is an absolute monster, and she is mine to use for the remainder of the Genlocke, as long as she survives. So, with Phoebe captured, we went on to stomp out May again, because she's pathetically weak. This is the last rival battle and her starter is not even fully evolved. Anyway, doing a quick detour up Mount Pyre to chase Team Magma back to their base, we snag ourselves Tissue the Shuppet and then head back to Lilico and storm Team Magma's not-so-hidden headquarters, finding and taking a Master Ball along the way and just dunking every member of Team Magma that we could find. With all of that noise out of the way, we head on over to Moss Deep, but take a quick pit stop at the Shoal Cave to catch Boreas the Spiel before we do some backtracking to other water routes to catch Wanda the Whalmer and Arlong the Sharpedo. You know, just going through and getting some more options. Somehow ending up finding the Mirage Island and then capturing a Why Not there because, sure, why not? And after doing all of that exploring, I went back to Moss Deep because I was feeling very confident in my ability to take on Tate and Lysa. They only have a Solrock and Lunatone, how hard could it be? Well, that overconfidence cost me, as both Damon and CJ get torn apart by the twins before I can take their Cosmic Rocks down. I forgot how cruel these two can be, and how spread damage works in double battles. Also, this might have been the one battle where I was severely under level 2, and one wrong or unlucky move could have cost me my entire team at that point. These two deaths broke me, and I spent a good 20 minutes just trying to piece together a team after the fact. I also got Spinel the Clamperl during the briefing after the gym battle, but at this point, it was time to train. With the team now properly trained up, we go to seek out Team Magma and the stolen submarine. The Grunt stood no chance, so we just breezed our way to Maxi. His Mariana was quickly taken care of by Artemis and her brick breaks, but his Crobat was going to be an issue. But not an issue that the newly evolved Phoebe couldn't deal with. I did have to heal a bit in that battle though, and I was scared of air cutter crits, but she managed to hold her own and take Crobat out. Finally, Camerupt came out, and Boreas just swept it away with Surf. This whole event had caused Groudon to be awoken by Max's stupidity, so we had to Sootopolis to stop it in the Cave of Origin. As simple as eating the Master Ball at its forehead. I captured Groudon simply so I don't have to fight it. But I have no intentions of actually using it in the battle. Now then, with Groudon out of the way and that plot line wrapped up, I spent some more time grinding just to make sure that Wallace won't catch us off guard, evolving Boreas to a Volrain in the process, making sure everyone was ready to take on the Water-type gym leader. Wallace leads off with his Love Disc, and that is honestly just easy fodder for a fully evolved Hazel at this point. Next is his Celio, which Phoebe evolves with Toxic and Surf. Whiskas comes out and Claudia makes short work of it with the Razor Leaf, and at this point his Melodic is just a done deal as Phoebe Toxic it and ships away. This leaves his Seeking, which is a Seeking. The 8th and final badge is ours, and now we can go through the last main hurdle, the Victory Road in Evergrande City. Taking out the trainers in the Victory Road, including Volley, was not really an issue at all, but now we had to train up the team one last time, to make sure we were ready to take on the Elite Four and the Champion. We already had 6 deaths on our hands, and I was not gonna let another one of my teammates fall in battle here. With Manny taking a backseat with his MVP status guaranteeing him a spot on the team for the Sinnoh session, he was on the team from the start up until Moss Deep Gym. He is the only one who applies to the MVP. The team ends up looking like this, with Claudia, Phoebe, Boreas, Artemis, Brooke, and a surprise new member in Drydle fully evolved into a Claydol. Now, all that stood in my way were 5 trainers and the 26 Pokemon that make up their separate teams. The first member of the Elite Four is Sydney. I do start off relatively slow against this Mariana because I tried to go for a setup that would let me buff up, but the game was not letting me have any of it and making me miss every single attack after getting hit once with Sand Attack. Eventually I do switch to Artemis though, and she just clobbers every single member of Sydney's team with her Brick Break, and overkills Cacturn with their newly learned Mega Horn. Next up is Ghost user Phoebe, but Brooke's newly learned Shadow Ball was too much for her to take. I had to switch out once, but Brooke effectively tore through that entire battle by herself. After that we had Glacia and her Ice types. Artemis leads with a Bulk Up, while Glalie sets up the Hail. This lets Artemis proceed to one-shot both of her Glalie and Celio pairs with Brick Break. until Volrain came in, at which point I switched into Phoebe to Toxicate and Vol it until it succumbed to the poison. Drake, the final member of the Elite Four, was laughably easy at this point between Phoebe and Boreas' ice beams. The dragon stood no chance at all. Now it was time to deal with Steven Stone and his selection of rock and steel types. The first problem would be his armory, because I was worried this bird would set up spikes, rendering my ability to switch a lot more limited than it would be otherwise. However, Boreas managed to two-shot Skarmory while it went for Steel Wing, so crisis averted. Next was Steven's Claydol, which went down to a single use of Surf. Cradillo was next, and while it managed to tank a Brick Break twice, it did get Steven to use full Restore twice as well. Next was Armado, and it just went down to one of Phoebe's Surfs. And here was the moment I had waited for. Steven sent out his Aggron, letting me go into Dreidel the Claydol and start setting up with Cosmic Power, my secret weapon. This was an ingenious plan on my end, because Steven's Aggron knows 3 special moves for whatever reason, and 2 of his moves are Earthquake and Thunder, which can't hit Dreidel because of Levitate and him being part ground type. This leads to Steven using Dragon Claw over and over, effortlessly trying to chip away at Dreidel as he sets up his defenses. With both his defenses capped out at +6, I start going for Ancient Power, and manage to snag 2 Omni Boosts, while also tanking Solar Beam from Aggron. And then the absolute best thing happens after Aggron goes down. Steven sends out his Metagross, the absolute monster that it is, at level 58, sporting the dreaded Steel typing and a lot of offensive prowess. Just to get one-shot by Dreidel's Earthquake. Outsped, outplayed, done. I honestly don't even know how to describe how good that moment in itself felt. But it was also the game-winning play that led us to finish Pokémon Ruby and take no less than 7 capable team members with us into Sinnoh. And boy am I glad to move out of Hoenn, because it feels like these games hate the players the most, having the most RNG hacks bullcrap I've ever seen. Just the battle against Volus' Love Disc had me confused by Water Pulse twice, and Sweet Kiss as well, before I could take it down. I said it was easy to take it out with Hazel, but it just wouldn't stop confusing me. It feels like Hoenn is out to get you every single time you play through these games. A lot of the time. But it's over, and we have a new game to play. With everyone making it through and having appropriate partners, we're starting Sinnoh with 7 additional Pokémon, in the form of Bulbasaur, Heracross, Swinub, Baltoy, Kecleon, Feebas, and Spheal. So join us next time when we handle the Sinnoh region in Pokémon Pearl. Thank you very much for watching. Cobleclaw signing out for now. Don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and share the video around. It helps with the algorithm. Well, mostly comments, but again, Cobleclaw signing out. See you all next time.